Is Aaron Judge too good to be true?
You keep looking for, the other shoe to drop.
Right.
Or something wrong, and you don't see it. He's a really legitimately good kid where, you're walking through the clubhouse, and he'll stop you and go, how you doing? Most athletes don't care how you're doing. Like, he's actually asking how you doing. He remembers names. He's just a good kid. And
Raised
I think a lot of that is, you're right, Alan, the way you're raised. And that's why Jeter was the way he was. If you come from a good household where your parents teach you values, you're going to turn out to this sort of kid. But I don't know how it does. He lives in the middle of Manhattan. He's probably the most eligible bachelor in the world. We'll see. We'll see how it affects him.
Is it fair to do the Jeter thing here? I know it's early, but Joe Girardi's the one who kind of started that conversation. And I'm not saying on the field. It's everything like you just described. Like, is it fair to say, like, it seems like he's on that same track?
I don't think it's fair after 4 months. He had the 2 months last year and the 2 months this year.
So too soon.
The thing that you bring up the Jeter thing is because of the way he handles himself off the field. And it's all about, I was listening to you guys driving, all about team. He deflects everything. Everything that's about him. I have a bet with Meredith Morakovitz. I said, get him to brag about himself. She can't do it. She just can't do it.
Is there one thing?
There's not one thing that, like I said, well, she said, well, give me a question. I said, ask him how great it is to be Aaron Judge. And she did, and like he goes, oh, no, all I care about is winning. I mean, God gives people what they can handle. Like, if I was that good, I'd be insufferable. You couldn't even be around me. I'd be flexing to the camera.
You got to tell everybody how good you are, right?
Absolutely. I could never be humble.
Here's another question. Well, actually, I got two questions, but the first one is this. So, when was the last Yankee you can remember? Because you made this point yesterday, and you played the clip of your voice, your call of was almost 500 feet,
right.
His home run. But you watched the Yankees dugout. Like, they feel like we feel as fans watching it. When was the last Yankee you know that was like that?
I mean, I work with all ex-athletes, and if you heard Paul O'Neill, he sounded like a giddy teenager. He couldn't believe it. So when athletes are – forget about if I'm affected like it. I never played at that level. So everything – I mean, if a guy hits a single, I'm amazed. So this guy's hitting a 490-foot home run, and guys that played the game, that were in the cauldron, and they were there in the field of play – guy has 5 championship rings. He was giggling, and then the whole team is like that. And I think the coolest part of it is nobody resents him because he is such a good kid. Like, nobody's jealous of him. Nobody feels like, why is he getting all the spotlight? They love it. They love it. They love him. So it's kind of a neat situation. I never take the West Coast trips, hardly ever.
Smart man.
And, like, when they were leaving Sunday, I was regretful that
Felt like you were going to miss out?
Yeah, I mean, and then I'm watching the game yesterday. I said, you don't want to take days off. It's like the ratings are through the roof. I mean, attendance was like over 45,000 for the whole homestand each game. I mean, this team is, tapped into something.
But I guess they're definitely fun to watch.
But you know what? That's probably the biggest compliment you could give any young athlete is the fact that his teammates don't resent his success.
Yep.
Because not only is he having, I mean, right now he'd win the Triple Crown of the American League, but he's got the judges' chambers and everything else. And for a lot of guys, like if you're in a locker room full of veteran guys, and there's some veteran guys in that locker room, you'd feel like, it's too much too soon. Mm-hmm. Like, you haven't earned it yet. It's only 4 months. But with him, it's like everyone. I mean, you see Torres in the clubhouse in the dugout with Didi, and he picks him up, and everyone's fired up. You got Gardner's all like he's energized this entire team.
And you know what else makes it work? A guy who's kind of flown under the radar, and I think he might be the best free agent signing is Holiday.
Yep.
Holiday took him under his wing, loves him, thinks he's only going to be even better than this. And if Holiday accepts you in that room, you're going to be accepted. So Holiday's almost like grown into a guy that's been there 5-6 years. That's how much gravitas he has.
Like some guys are just, I don't want to say born to be Yankees, but like they just fit Yankee. Like Matt Holiday seems to just fit what the Yankees always have seemed to have, those late 90s teams. Always those guys who came in, those veteran players that they would add throughout those years. He seems to be one of those types of guys.
And he has one blemish that I found out. I found a blemish on
something
Matt Holiday. So I went over and introduced myself in spring training, and he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I watch your show all the time on the simulcast. I said, oh, thanks. He goes, I love Peter Rosenberg. I said, I laughed. I said, he goes, no, really? I said, really? You love Peter? He goes, I really love him. I said, wow.
See, now that was a guy that was born to be a Yankee, not a Yankee.